Howdy do, folks.
Hi, YouTube.
This guy started making YouTube videos, so before we start talking about this movie, I want you to check him out because he's my buddy, and
Yeah,
you
just see a lot of material coming up in the next few months or so.
And you may notice we have a different
Vehicle
completely. Yeah, my Grand Prix had a stroke, so it will be missed. This is my new car. It is completely mine. I paid for it. There's a lot of room, and I'm paying insurance on it, so my parents have nothing on this car. It is completely mine, and I'm very happy with it.
I wonder if Trevor's gonna like burn the top of it like he did your last car.
Yeah, I got like $500 less because of that from the appraiser. Anywho, Lights Out started as a Facebook video, like a short film that was like 2 minutes long that I saw, I want to say a year ago, like maybe after it was popular. Someone shared it and I saw it. I vaguely remember it. I think it doesn't have really anything to do with this movie, but that's what inspired and got the ball rolling for this movie, which I gotta respect. You know, that's like with Pixels, even though that movie was utter shit, it was really cool to see like these short films become movies, and it's really inspired me to pursue becoming a filmmaker.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this movie. James Wan's directing. He's an icon with horror movies, either if he helped writing it or if he produced it or if he's directing it. But
yeah, he's a pretty.
I think he's producing and directing this movie. I don't think he wrote it though.
I think he's just producing it. He
Oh,
might
really?
Be
No, yeah, he's directing it.
Okay, he might be directing it. All I know is it looks like a really cool concept, you know, like, because people are naturally like afraid of the dark, and so it's really nice to see what can be lurking in that darkness.
Yeah, like I don't know if like the hidden theme in the movie is like for people to be afraid of black people.
It's
but
not.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, I noticed the runtime was only an hour and 20 minutes, so short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
Yep. It's not going to be drug out. I think it's just going to have its moments and it's going to be over, and it's going to be a decent horror movie.
I would agree with you, except Tarek and I saw Batman the Killing Joke, which was only like an hour and 10 minutes long, and that movie felt like 2 hours. It was ridiculous. So I don't know if scenes are going to drag out to like really stretch out the movie and bore me to death, or if it's just going to be an interesting premise that's well executed and an enjoyable horror experience, which I'm really hoping forward to, because horror movies are hard for me. They're hard for me to trust, and I'm cautiously optimistic about this one. You know, the trailers, some of it looks a little cliche, but
yeah, or if they showed all their scenes like in the trailer, which a lot of movies are doing these days. But yeah, off the point, like this video if you want more Matt and less Tarek.
But be honest, you all miss Tarek. You know, it's Tarek and Tarek, you know, you can't go wrong with Tarek and Tarek.
Tarek has no other friends. Wow.
I'm very pleased, if I'm being completely honest.
I'm satisfied, but I think I had my expectations a little too high.
I went in with pretty, you know, not minimum expectations, but not too high. Horror movies are so hard for me to like appreciate nowadays, because after like the year 2000 hit, pretty much everyone's like worried that horror movies that are coming out are like, they're gonna fall into the generic horror film tropes of like jump scares, you know, dolls possessed and stuff, and then researching about demons and shit. This was such a breath of fresh air, and wow, I'm not overly impressed, but I gotta commend this movie for what it is, which I thought was pretty great, if I'm being completely honest. And I think that comes mostly from the great writing that this movie has. Because Matt saw The Conjuring 2, I didn't. He says that the plot of Conjuring 2 might be better.
Yeah, just the overall story. I mean, the writing was still good in both films, but I mean, you kind of expect what's going to happen at the end of this movie. I had no idea what to expect when I saw The Conjuring 2, because like everything just surprised me throughout the whole film. And like this movie kind of stayed with the general plot that you find out pretty early on in the movie.
Yeah, like I told Matt, I thought this was a lot better than the first Conjuring movie, which everyone was like so, talkative about, and I really didn't see the magic behind it. I thought, wow, this is kind of boring. I'm tired of seeing research for possession stories and like satanic witches and stuff. I'm tired of seeing that. And one of the great things about this movie is that like we don't really know what the monster is. I mean, obviously it's the mother's friend, the mother Sophie, and Diana is the little creature, but we don't know what we don't know what Diana is. And that adds a lot of the creepier elements to it, like how her powers work or something, how she's able to...
But it's all explained in the movie.
Not everything, but what is explained makes like a lot of sense. And it makes you pretty fucking paranoid. Like, I can't imagine watching this at like 2 in the morning or something.
Like, if you're one of the people that likes having a good scare, I mean, I would not have high expectations. But if you want to just go see a good movie, like, it's still, I would say, in the horror genre, it's pretty suspenseful. The writing's really good. But, I mean, it's just not, it doesn't have that scare factor. Mm-hmm. Like, if you've seen the Sinister movie or any of the other Conjurings or the Insidious movies, there's like those no actual scare factors. There's a few jump scares in the movie, and throughout you always think that someone's going to be threatened or killed, but I mean, it's, you just don't really feel that like high blood pressure, if you know what I mean.
It was around the midpoint of the movie, I was like, I'm really into this movie. Like, I didn't know what it was really, but I was just really hooked on it. Like, and I especially like with the beginning, where we're introduced to, the stepdad and his associate Esther, and that's important to me because it made me look like a fucking genius in the theater. I looked at her, I'm like, I think she was in the short film. I think she was the star. And then like after the movie, I went in the bathroom, looked it up. Sure enough, it's Loretta Loza. It's probably not that. It's
something. She was just in the short film.
Here's like a picture of her. It made me look like a genius. I'm very proud of myself for that. So right off the bat, I was hooked, and we're introduced to these various other characters. The son and the mother. We're introduced to Rebecca, his sister, and the guy she's sleeping with.
The CPS.
Yes, the CPS dude.
Oh, and one thing I liked about the characters in this film is like pretty much all of them are relatable.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't anything too crazy about the characters. They all have regular characteristics like to other people, and I'm sure like a lot of the guys in the theater could relate to the fucking dude that was with Sophia.
Sophie or
Rebecca? Sophie. The blonde chick.
Well, the mother and the sister are blonde.
Sophie, the chick, not the fucked up piece of shit mother.
Sophie is the mom. Rebecca is the sister.
Oh. Are you sure?
I'm positive. I can retain a lot of information from you.
Who knows? Okay, but
who knows?
The daughter. The daughter's boy toy, I guess.
Boy toy. Okay, the boy toy. Yes. It was weird for me. I thought the characters were like somewhat of like horror stereotypes, but like they were written as characters. They expressed emotions. Like their characters changed. Like their morals and their actions like mattered. Whereas like in horror movies, it's like the crazy mom's like, oh yeah, I'm crazy. Look at how like they're quirks. But in this movie, there were characteristics and not quirks, which again, I praise the writing for that. And the mood of the movie felt like really low budget sort of YouTube, and I was very impressed with like the production value.
IFC Midnight Films. That's kind of like the impression I got.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cinematography, I mean, James Wan, I'm not sure if he was that involved with it because he wasn't directing this time, but you could tell this was a James Wan movie. Like Ninja Turtles was a Michael Bay movie, even though it was produced. This was a James Wan movie.
Yeah, they probably just kind of used his name to like get the fan base for the movie hyped because of his previous films.
Yeah, and it just feels like a James Wan film. Like, I feel like the director might have been a first-time director. I've never heard his name in anything. I could be totally stupid right now, and he's done something like Battlefield Earth or something.
Oh, God.
But I feel like a lot of the power in this movie was to James Wan. Like, he's like, why don't we have... He made a lot of suggestions for camera work and stuff, and it really shows, I think.
I like the casting choices, too. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not well-known characters or actors out in Hollywood. It just kind of felt indie, almost.
Yeah, it felt like an indie film.
Yeah, and these could... Like, I wouldn't mind seeing these actors in, like, other movies. But
Yeah.
honestly, horror, I thought they did a pretty good job.
And if you remember my Swiss Army review, you know I have a very soft spot for that sort of filmmaking because it's something that really inspires me to create films, to like, because it's something I'm very passionate about. And seeing movies like this really makes me want to pursue that. So that's always a plus for me. Going back to the casting, even though the kid was kind of annoying as shit at times, he wasn't to the point I'm like, oh my god, I hope you die. He was like, if you died, I wouldn't mind. No, he did fine.
The fucking cops in the movie were retarded.
I wouldn't say they were retarded. I mean, like, they were written as characters who have never experienced this sort of entity before. So
Yeah, it was just funny. It's like, it's LAPD! And they go in the dark, and it's like, oh, well, you know what? Shit just happened.
I mean, if you think about it, like, how would you react, like, as an officer getting, like, in this situation?
That was just funny. They're like, shut the fuck up, like, to the guy that was telling him, bring a flashlight. And they're like, eat a dick. And then they walked in, and the people are like, shine a flashlight. And the cop's like, eat a dick. And then he ate a dick and died.
Yeah. The pacing of this movie was really, like, well done. It was very fluid. You know, nothing sporadically jumped around like the little creature.
Yeah, it looked fucked up. The thing, I mean.
Going to that, I think that's a nice segue into some of the problems I have with this movie, because it's not a perfect movie. It's a great movie, I think, but there are some problems. I think, for one, Sophie, like, the short film version of her looked creepier than this movie's version.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Obviously, you know, this is
I've never seen it, so I wouldn't have an opinion on it.
He had a chance to in the bathroom with me, but he didn't. I don't know why, but I just think that maybe, like, more practical effects were used in the short film, or maybe it's because we didn't see enough of her in the short film to be like, oh, well, that looks like shit.
Mm-hmm.
But that little quick shot we got in the short film was like, oh god, what the hell? But in here, it was like, it just looked generic. Really, especially in the jump scare part where you actually see her.
I mean, it saves money, like when they do CGI and editing. I mean, they didn't really detail it that well.
Yeah,
because you just see an outline because it's in the dark. But I like, there's an effect in the movie where she's holding a black light, where it doesn't.
What I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's because it shows the detail of it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of nice just to see like the perspective of what she looks like in the dark.
Yeah, because her
'Cause we
skin
don't
is
see
all
that
like,
throughout the
she
film.
has like a skin condition, and so like the light hurts her, and so when there's like the black light, she doesn't vanish like it's normal light, but you still see her.
Spoiler alert.
It's not a spoiler, like, I mean, it was in the trailer, you saw the hand reach out, which was one of the creepiest moments of the film, and I'm glad that this movie didn't totally rely on jump scares. Another problem I have with the movie is that it does not know what it wants to be, and
It's
especially
random. It's sporadic.
it's not like sporadic, it's just, it was having like a nice mood throughout, and then like at the near end it did not know what it wanted to be or how to end, so it's like, let's have this badass ending.
Yeah, like I was like, apparently it's not, it's just an entity of whoever the fucking fucked up mother was. I mean, it was just like a figment of her imagination that became real because she was at a low point in her life.
Yeah, but like I was watching it like at the end, and I kid you not, it felt like a Purge movie, just like how it was like the one turned at the camera and she's like, I'm saving you, and I'm like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. And it just, it felt really out of place, and I'm like, well, you could have had a really great ending and you kind of just rushed it. And I feel like maybe the ending was rushed, but the rest of the film has great tension moments, and it's a great journey if you want to get spooked.
Yeah, and like the problems with these kind of horror movies is like obviously they drag on these scenes and they don't have the thing kill the person right away. But I mean, you always see in this movie where like it has
Like,
hundreds of chances to kill
yeah,
these
like
people,
opportunities.
but it doesn't, just for movie's sake.
Yeah,
and I
because
don't
you
like
see-
that.
You see Sophie like rise up before she's like about to kill someone, and then she.
Well,
doesn't.
there's plenty of times where
Or,
they're
like,
in
she
the
could
dark
have.
and nothing. Yeah, that's just my only problem.
But I won't discredit that. There are a lot of clever moments and like genuinely scary moments where she utilizes the dark in interesting ways. Like she like moves locations just in the dark. So like someone shines a flashlight and then she'll appear behind them, and that was creepier than the way Sophie looked. Anyways,
Sophie. I don't even know the fucking character. All right, so what's your overall rating for the movie?
well, I'm gonna let you rate this movie first.
A 7.
You're gonna give it a 7? Why?
Because like, if the story was better, like the screenplay overall was better, and like I listed the negatives and I listed the positives, and if it all just worked together, I would have rated it like an 8.5, like I would the Conjuring movies. But just because it just had a lack of suspense for me, to be honest. But I mean, the writing was still good and I was entertained, so give it a 7.
I've been teetering between an 8 or a 9. I think just because of the ending, I can't give it a 9. It's not a blowjob from God, unfortunately for me, but it is definitely worth checking out on Redbox. So, with a consensus of 7.5 out of 10, this movie is a Redbox rental. And with that being said, we will catch you guys next time, unless Tarek wants to see Star Trek Beyond with me later today.
Remember to keep on your night lights.
Yeah, keep on your lights, buds. Peace.